Hey guys, it's Kay, aka the Purple Teapot, and let's talk about season 1, episode 3 of Dr. Odyssey, and it's plastic surgery week. And I've got a lot to say, so let's get into it. Starting off with my favourite girl, Avery. Like, that moment where she gives up immediately into Lenore calling her Harvey was funny to me. I kind of loved their dynamic, but at the same time, it's super problematic. But in the end, Avery showed Lenore why she deserved her job, even though Lenore was being a complete bitch by firing her. I like that Avery never backed down in this episode. Although she shouldn't have had to prove herself, she did, and now I'm curious about this journey. Well, I was curious before, but now I'm more curious about this journey to become a doctor. And also, is there only one space for one doctor on the boat? One thing I did notice, it seems like every year Lenore and Avery have a clash. That's why she was being the way she was when Lenore called her Harvey, because it's clear that she does know her name. She was just being a bitch, and I can't wait to see their dynamic and their clashes in future seasons if the show gets a future season. The only reason why I'm saying if is because we'll talk about it when we talk about Max. And Lenore was absolutely hilarious. The fact that the guests were like had their full bandages on and should be in bed, but Avery walking around without like an evening gown on was where she drew the line. I'm like, girl, be for real. In every episode, I feel like I relate to Avery more and more, because I also wouldn't care about dealing with a boat full of people who should be recovering from surgery at home, but instead they decided to recover from surgery on the cruise that I work on as a nurse. That just, there's no win there. What annoyed me was Lenore insisting that Avery should smile. Like, bitch, I get it, it's her job, but it's so annoying when someone tells you to smile when you're not feeling it. It's a dickhead move. Let me know what you think about like the whole Avery and Lenore beef. That was like the whole most of like Avery's arc this episode was that, because I love to hate Lenore and can't wait for her to come back. Let's get into the patient stories. First, that girl who used ice instead of antibiotics and painkillers because she didn't want anything synthetic in her body. I'm like, girl, you're putting permanent things in your body, implants, but you won't take things that will only temporarily be in your body, like painkillers and antibiotics. Be for real. But shout out to Avery. This is why the customer isn't always right. This is why we relate. This is why I relate to this character so much. People do stupid things, especially on cruises. Using ice directly on your skin for long periods is just stupid. And that woman who just had a nose job and decided that she was going to snort coke, something that I've never seen on a non-streaming platform show, by the way, and which was very interesting. The times are changing. The fact that the patient couldn't stop speaks so much to the effects of addiction. But like at the same time, there's always that humour of this TV show where the fact that her nose just was gone is funny at the same time. It's like, that's one thing about a Ryan Murphy show. They find the humour in things that are serious. And I guess after that, I'm going to have to take the coke and the nose jobs off my list. Just kidding, they were never on there in the first place. I like my face, but you do you, everyone who's listening. The British accents weren't bad from those two, but there was one thing that I didn't like, and I don't know what it was, like about their accents, that kind of pissed me off as a Brit. And why in the hell did she pull off her nose? She knew it was moving. Why would you pull the whole thing off? Like, leave it. It hadn't all fallen, like just a tiny bit. Like, they might have been able to save it a bit better if she didn't fast with it. And then she had to walk around for the rest of the cruise looking like the Phantom of the Opera, and that tickled me. Like in the end, it was a bit bedazzled as well, which was cute. One thing I am very interested in is the other members of staff. There was a moment where we got humour from the other members of staff. I don't think we've interacted with them like that other than the beach thing, and I can't remember if everyone was staff. But the wait staff were asking the clients if they were having liquids and solids, and that just really tickled me. And also that man who just poured the gauze out of his nose after his nose job, that was disgusting. But it's a Ryan Murphy production. Like, when I tell you that this show is so serious about being unserious, I'm not joking. Tristan's mum's Huntington's disease story was a sad one. The fact that it's something that she had seen someone die from before and now she has it makes me think that maybe that's the reason why she was distant and cold as a mother, but she ran away before we got to learn anything more. But we'll get into Tristan in a second. Just like last week, where they had more than just guest short-term problem stories. I like that they touched on a more serious element, diagnosing more than just mercury poisoning from eating too much seafood. And talking about serious stories, the first death on the cruise, Ken's story actually made me quite sad in the end. Once again, shedding light on something that I didn't know about, because I didn't realize that it increases the risk the more and more surgeries that you have for things like sepsis, because I'm sure he's had sepsis before. At one moment he's in cryotherapy with Max, and the next he's dead from sepsis. I guess it's the price of wanting to change the way that you look so drastically. It's crazy because it was like that chest implant, what he said was the final piece of his surgery puzzle, and he just died shortly afterwards. Maybe if he wasn't on the cruise, he wouldn't have died. When the housekeeping found him though and screamed, how did that not alarm anyone? Like, they put him in the cart to not alert people, but what about that scream? That was like the scream of death. Well, literally. And carrying his body on a cart is kind of mad. Like, that's like undignified almost. Couldn't give that man some dignity in his death. Also, when they put that man on the cart, the actor, I could see him breathing. Like, if you want to look back, he's so slim, you can see him like breathing. It's kind of funny. Also, the dark glasses indoors were so suspicious. Like, there were so many things that pointed to death in this episode. I don't know. And the fact that Max's first death was someone he watched on TV while recovering from COVID is also suspicious. As I said earlier, we'll talk about that when we get to Max's segment. Question on all this: is there only one space for one patient? That seems like a bad thing. What happens if more than one patient dies? Also, what are your thoughts on the patient stories? Do you like them? Do you like how they are portrayed? I don't know. My doctors and nurses, they should tell me if it's accurate. I know it's not accurate. This is probably one of the least accurate doctor shows, but it's fine. It's fine. I'm loving it. We finally got to see Tristan's mommy issues firsthand. Like, he hasn't seen his mom in 2 years, and it's clear why. She gaslights him into thinking it's his fault. I have a parent who does the same, so I was like, felt that. It's like he's the parent and she's the child, and yeah, as I was saying, that conversation, it was almost deja vu. I've had conversations like that constantly. Like, you have to be like, you're the parent. Anyways, I just don't understand parents like that. And I see why y'all ship Tristan Avery now. The way that he wants to champion for her, like, no matter what, speaks volumes. Yeah, the whole thing with Lenore. I'm glad we got to learn more about him and why he is the way that he is, especially with the setup between him and Avery at this point in the season, which we're quite early in. You'd think we've been watching this forever. We know so much about everybody already. This episode brought Tristan's quick character development, making him a stronger contender when it comes to Avery. Also, I love the growing friendship between him and Max. Like, they're real bros now. And after what he said in the pilot, it's nice to see. But what do you guys think about Tristan's story in this episode? Let me know what you think about his mom. I think she's an arsehole, but she's also sick, so maybe she can have a bit of redemption. I don't think so, because she immediately left after she was diagnosed without even saying goodbye to her son. And do you think that, like Tristan, he's done with Avery? Do you think? I don't think. I feel like if Avery was to do what she does, as she does, he'd have a chance. And she wanted him, he'll be like, I'm here. And Max, look, this is what I was talking about earlier. This show isn't shaking the fever dream allegations anytime soon. The whole thing about him being like the super fan of Ken makes me just think fever dream every moment. Even that moment at the end when he was talking to Ken's friends and talking about death and that, I was like, what if he is in like a coma? I don't know if you guys have seen or heard the theories, but there's a big theory that this is all a dream, and I'm starting to believe it, especially with the way that it's colored and the lighting. It feels so paradisey, but at the same time they get off the boat, so I'm not sure. Like, sometimes I'm like, is the light in the way that it is because they're in a paradise, or is it because they can't afford to actually film this on a cruise? Let's get back to Max and Ken. Can't lie, I was rooting for them to kiss. There was chemistry. Let me know what you think, because I don't know, sometimes I read things wrong. Because I know Ken was definitely flirting, but was Max? That's the real question. Let me know in the comments what you think. Like, they were all up in each other's faces, especially when Max did the exam just before he died. And the fact that the cruise doesn't have a proper morgue is mad. Like, me and Max together, we were confused. The song that they used during the sequence before Ken's death, which talked about being seen, definitely symbolized how Ken felt seen by somebody, probably outside of his friendship, being seen as more than just a performance, but as somebody who is unapologetically being the person they want to be. And then Max not wanting to give up on Ken, even when he was clearly dead, also showed how much he cared for him. And this being Max's first death on the cruise, this theory is starting to become a bit concrete, you know? But imagine this cruise is all Max's imagination. Watching Avery comfort Max made me think that this probably isn't the endgame relationship. I don't know. I feel like there's more to Tristan's, but I don't ship either of them yet because we're 3 episodes in, I can't start on the shipping already. I feel like they're just gonna have a little situationship and that's it. Also, like, the back and forth of Avery and Tristan also, it makes me think about this fever dream thing, that this is a figment of Max's COVID imagination, and like Tristan and Avery are his nurses, and he thinks he has like an imaginary rivalry between Tristan, who's his nurse, for the heart of Avery. But all in all, this man's in like a coma. Tristan's giving his somewhat blessing for their relationship so early into this also is a reason why I'm not sure, like, do we even know that Avery wants Max? It just seems sexual to me, their relationship. It doesn't seem like, I don't know, there's like an emotional attachment. I think there's more of an emotional attachment with Tristan, but there's that element of him being in the bro zone as well. I think they should just be colleagues with benefits, you know. I think that's the best thing for Avery and Max at this point of this show. But what did you think of Max's story in this episode? Did you feel the vibe between him and Ken? Was it stronger than between him and Avery? I don't know. Do you think it's a fever dream too? Comment your thoughts below. Anyways, thanks for listening. We're getting into the swing of things, so like and share the video with a friend if you enjoyed it. And don't forget to check out my Dr. Odyssey playlist where I do all my other reviews. And also, next week, I'm not fully sure what's happening with the guests, but Avery being sick is going to cause a lot of mess. See you guys.